we have the news coming out this week that after throwing a 15-pitch session to hitters, I believe it was the first time he faced hitters since August, right? It was the first time Sale faced a hitter since August. 15 pitches. Now, he went through the whole thing, the warm-ups. He went through it all. But then he gets onto the mound, faces live hitters, 15 pitches. Leaves the game. Everybody says good things about it. Sale says it went good. Manager Ron Renicky said looked good. The next day, Chris Sale, soreness in his elbow. Sent him to have an MRI. They saw those results of the MRI. They got a second opinion. They got a third opinion. They sent it to multiple doctors. One of those doctors was Dr. James Andrews. Not a name you want to hear. Right? I don't want, in the first week of March, I don't want to hear the names Chris Sale and Dr. James Andrews in the same sentence. I just don't want to hear it. Now, of course you're going to send him the tests and see what he thinks. But you just don't want to hear that. You don't want that story. You want Chris Sale through a 15-pitch session, looked good, felt good, you move on, you increase that the next time he goes out. Now, last week we heard that Chris Sale was going to begin the season on the injured list, that he wasn't going to be ready for opening day. The Red Sox reasoning for that was, it's not injury related. It's because he missed the first couple weeks of workouts in the middle of February with an illness, with a minor case of pneumonia and flu-like symptoms. It was an illness, not an injury. And what did I tell you last week? I told you that doesn't seem right. In February, before you even hit March 1st on the calendar, you're going to shut down your ace because he missed 2 weeks with an illness in the middle of February? That makes no sense to me. They were lying to you. I told you that. Something else was going on. You could go watch the clip on my YouTube channel and smash that subscribe button, youtube.com/Danny Picard, or go back in the archives of this show and try to find it. But the actual clip of that is on my YouTube channel. I told you, there's no way you shut down your ace because he missed 2 weeks in the middle of February with an illness. There's no way you take that and say, we can't catch up. We can't catch up for opening day at the end of March, early April. We can't do it. We got to he won't be ready. We're already going to rule him out. They ruled Sale out for opening day before the calendar even hit March 1st. He's your ace. You just traded your other, pitcher that was right there with Sale at the top of the rotation in David Price. You traded Mookie Betts. You're still trying to win next year. I know some people say, no, they're not. This is a throwaway season. It wasn't. It's not. Okay? The Red Sox still have a team that can compete. But, put the trade aside, you need Chris Sale to be healthy. When someone like me says the Red Sox can still compete, I say that thinking Chris Sale is going to be able to be Chris Sale. That 5-year, $145 million extension doesn't begin till this season. It kicks in right now. And you're going to tell us last week that he's going to begin this season on the injured list because of an illness? I told you there's no way. It's got to be more than an illness. And what we're finding out this week is that it is more than an illness. It was more than an illness. He wasn't feeling right. He was feeling something in that elbow. They didn't want us to panic, so they didn't tell us about it. So they told us they blamed it on the illness. Now I think you should question, well, how sick was he? Was he even sick at all? You should question that. Because they're talking to us. The Red Sox, what they're doing right now, which is starting to piss me off, is they're talking to us like we are complete and utter morons. Right? And some people felt that way with the Mookie Betts stuff, or even going back to their comments in their big press conference on getting underneath the CBT, the luxury tax threshold. Some people say, well, they're the Red Sox, big market, ton of money, more money than God. They can't go over the luxury tax. They got to make these moves, that moves, all these moves. Some people try to say that, they felt the Red Sox were talking to them like they're stupid after those comments. I didn't feel that way. I almost understand to an extent what they're trying to do and still be able to compete. And, but this is one that, you're starting to piss me off. Because not only is the news that Chris Sale, going to begin the season on the injured list, or that Chris Sale had soreness in his elbow, you had an MRI and you sent the results of that MRI to Dr. James Andrews and some other doctors to get second opinion and even a third opinion, and maybe even more opinions than that. But now you're taking those opinions and you're saying, surgery is not being recommended right now, so we're not going to have it, so we're going to shut him down for a week. This is what they're telling us. Let me read you a quote from Ron Renicky. Direct quote from down at spring training. He says, quote, this is manager Ron Renicky. He says, quote, doctors have advised him to wait another week before he starts throwing again. He'll start playing catch again. If everything is good, we'll progress. So they're going to shut Chris Sale down for a week. He won't throw for a week. They're going to give him some rest. They're going to give him what's going to happen is they're going to give him a couple. Here's what's going to happen. All right. This is not a prediction. In the words of Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar's manager in WWE, this is not a prediction. This, my friends, is a spoiler. What's going to happen in 3 weeks is that there's going to be a press release that says Chris Sale will undergo surgery on his left elbow. It's inevitable. I think you have to be a complete moron not to understand that that is a very realistic option. But I'm taking it one step further. I'm telling you, that is a guarantee. That is going to happen. Like, they should have had the surgery already. And we could be looking at, well, Chris Sale will, who knows? Maybe he'd be ready for the, who knows when he'll be. Maybe he'd be ready for September if the Red Sox are still involved in any type of playoff race. So maybe we guarantee he'll be ready for the 2021 season. The more you prolong this and set this off, the more you forget about this season, the more you start to dig into next season in 2021. Because let's say you don't have surgery for another month, 2 months. Or let's say you think this is good, he's feeling better, you're going to work him out, you put him on the injured list, then all of a sudden he makes a start in late April, early May, he's feeling it again, you give him a couple more weeks off, you have surgery on June 1st. Then all of a sudden, he's not just missing, you wash this season out and you wash next season out. So, have the surgery. And I get it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not Dr. James Andrews. But this is where I get into the Red Sox are pissing me off because they're talking to us like we're morons. They're acting like this is the first time humans have ever encountered somebody with an elbow injury. They're like, oh, how do we handle this? Well, we'll give him a couple weeks. We all know how this ends. Like, this isn't the first time this has happened. How many times have we seen, well, Dr. James Andrews, he's not recommending surgery. Right? No, he's not recommending it. Couple weeks later, you got some soreness still. You have another test. You go back to James Andrews. He's like, you could have it if you want. And then all parties get together. They're like, well, maybe it's best that we have it. And you wasted precious time in the months that you kicked around the idea of having surgery. And I get what Chris Sale also wants to do. He doesn't want to let anyone down. And he talked to the media today, and I didn't hear it or see it. I'm just reading tweets. I'm reading quotes on Twitter, and he seemed very emotional about it. And you know what? He should be. I mean, he gets it. He knows the deal. He knows the deal. Now, I don't think he's going to be as soft about it as David Price was, but he knows the deal. You're about to begin a contract that pays you $30 million, $29 million this season. It begins this season. And you can't perform under that contract. And that's not making people in this town happy, especially given what the organization just did, which didn't make a lot of people happy, which is trade a Mookie Betts. Chris Sale gets it. And that might be part of the strategy here. Well, let me hold on. Let me see. Let me wait it out. Let me see. And the Red Sox are like, I can guarantee you there are people in the Red Sox organization today that are like, let's just have the surgery. But there's also a PR battle here. I mean, it's what it is, right? This is, you got to put it, it all factors in. There's a PR battle. There's a thought process that, well, if we can continue to give the fans some hope, maybe we get some more tickets sold in the next couple weeks. Because the minute you send that press release, which everybody gets the email, and it hits Twitter, and it says Chris Sale is having surgery, and he is out the rest of the season, and probably into some parts of next season, then that's devastating news from a competitive standpoint with the Red Sox. And I don't want to knock Mookie Betts, because I was a big fan of Mookie Betts, but I tried to use logic and understand both sides as to why that trade happened. A lot of people don't want to do that. I'm not going to sit here and make this show about that again. I've already done that many times. Go back in the archives and watch and listen to that if you want. But when it comes to being competitive, if you can pitch in this league and you can pitch with someone as dominant as Chris Sale, and you still have guys like Devers and J.D. Martinez and Xander Bogaerts and Benintendi, and you got Jackie Bradley in center field, like you can compete in this league still. No question about it. But if you can't pitch, you're going to have an awfully tough time competing with anybody. Sale gave you that hope. He gave someone like me that hope. He gives a lot of people deep down inside, even though they might not want to admit it publicly because they're pissed off about the Betts trade, he gives a lot of people hope, and he would if he was healthy. But the minute you sit there and send that press release out if you're the Red Sox and you tell the world that Chris Sale is going to miss this season and parts of next season, that is a big hit from a competitive standpoint. And it's a devastating blow, actually, from a competitive standpoint. And they're trying to hold off on that because they think this magical healing process is about to begin. And the fact of the matter is, we all know it's not. We all know that healing process is not going to go down the way they want it to go down, with simple rest and recovery. Holy shit. We've seen this before. They've seen this before. I'm not Dr. James Andrews. Of course, he's seen it before. And he's not sitting there going, you need to have surgery. But I think we need to look into the wording of this. What did Dr. James Andrews, actually say to Chris Sale? He said surgery is not recommended. That doesn't mean you can't have it. You just don't have to have it right now. Give it some time. Let it see. What's in it for Dr. James Andrews? If Chris Sale gives it 2 weeks and comes back to him, he's not getting a ring. He's not getting a World Series ring. He's just being, in general, here's how I would handle this, just in a vacuum. You could be any Joe Schmo down the street. You come to me with an elbow injury. Here's the diagnosis. Here's what I'm going to give you. He's not getting a championship ring. Right? So, if you think about it from a baseball perspective, and you consider the history of these types of situations, here's what's going to happen. They're going to give it a week, give it 2 weeks. In 3 weeks, we're going to be told Chris Sale is having surgery. That's what's going to happen. That's not a prediction. That is a spoiler.